I just thought I'd say. First I was thinking, what was wrong, So I couldn't find my phone in my room. So I had to find my phone on the iPad. And it said it's outside somewhere. I have to walk like 500 meters or something. So I didn't push the button that makes the phone make noise, because I thought it's outside, I wouldn't hear it anyway. So we went outside and we were waiting, and then somebody went in the room and found it. But then Maharaj was with us, and somehow we said, okay, let's just have kirtan. And otherwise it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have gone out, and he wouldn't have gone out. So it's what Krishna wants. And so many joined and danced, and everybody was so happy. So we want to, whoever was there, thank you. You see the people, they love it. When they see everybody dancing, I came in one night, and so many people taking movies of the devotees jumping. Prabhupada also liked very much when everybody danced. He said dancing produces bhakti. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 27. And make sure I have the right verse. 19, right? Surabi Uvacha. Krishna, Krishna. Mahayogin. Vishwatma. Vishvasambhava. Bhavata. Loka. Natena. Sanata. Vayam. Achyuta. Surabi Uvacha. Krishna, Krishna, Mahayogin. Vishvatman, Vishvasambhava. Bhavata Lokanatena. Sanatavayam Achyuta. Surabi Uvacha. Krishna, Krishna, Mahayogin. Vishvatman, Vishvasambhava. Bhavata Lokanatena. Sanatavayam Achyuta. All right. Ladies. Acha. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho. Anyone else? Okay, Surabi Vacha. Surabi said, Krishna, Krishna. Oh, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Mahayogi, greatest of all mystics. Vishwa Atman, O soul of the universe. Vishwasambhava, origin of the universe. Bhavata, by you. Lokanatena, the master of the world. Nataha, having a master. Vayam, we. Achyuta, O infallible one. Mother Surabi said, O Krishna, Krishna, greatest of all mystics, O soul and origin of the universe, you are the master of the world, and by your grace, O infallible Lord, we have you as our master. You can repeat. Mother Surabi said, O Krishna, Krishna, greatest of all mystics, O soul and origin of the universe, you are the master of the world, and by your grace, O infallible Lord, we have you as our master. Purport by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out here that Mother Surabi is feeling great ecstasy as she repeats the words, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill by his mystic power and thus protected the cows of Vrindavan, whereas her so-called master Indra had tried to kill them. Thus Surabi now clearly understands that it is not the demigods, but rather the Supreme Lord Himself, who is a real master forever. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuramilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanditam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Desatarine Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tuishe Namaha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langaya De Kirim Tat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarane Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva Me Visatu Manasaraja Hansan Prana Pranama Samaye Kapavata Pittai Kantavaro Dhanavido Smaranam Kutaste. Anybody know that one? You know that one. That's, Prabhupada sang that quite often. I remember when I first went on traveling Sankirtan, I somehow got a cassette player in the van. They were not common at the time. And cassettes of Prabhupada were very rare. And I had one with that Prabhupada singing that. But it didn't have any, I didn't know where it was coming from. But it was so powerful the way he, and I always wondered, what is that all about, you know? Then we heard Prabhupada translated it, "Let me die now." You know. And he would, his servant said he would very often recite that. The idea is that now I can chant, now I'm in reasonably good condition, so let me die now before everything chokes up and I can't remember Krishna. No, it's not suicidal. It's just, let me think of Krishna, let me remember Krishna. Let me, like the swan, they stick their nose in the lotus flower and push it underwater and they get something out of it. So they want to be like that, just get tangled up in the nectar of Krishna Lila. This is Sarabi from the heavenly planets, not the Vaikuntha, not the Goloka, but there's really not so much difference. They're all relatives. There's many different kinds of cows even here on earth, just like there's so many different kinds of people, right? Of course, we have to see beyond that, but Krishna, she's saying he's the Lord of the universe. When, I think it was 75 after the Mayapur, everybody went to Puri with Prabhupada. Those were smaller days and everybody took the train to Puri. Everything was together, you know. So Prabhupada gave some public Pandal programs and he said, he is Jagannath, not Purinath. Because they're thinking he's just our Lord, you know. But Jagannath, he's the Lord of the universe. But that's just tiny aspect of Krishna, the Lord of this universe. There's so many universes, material universes, and they're all just tiny, because Mahavishnu is a Amsa, he's a small part and parcel of Krishna, much removed, you know, Mahavishnu, from Balaram and Sankarshan and a few Chaturvyuhas, and then finally Mahavishnu. And as far as I can observe, most of the people, like Hindus that know about Vishnu, they don't even know Mahavishnu, they know Garbhodakashaivi. They know that of this universe. You know. It's all Krishna, but in different dress, different manifestations. We have a few different incarnations exhibited here, especially in a Shringadev. It's very nice. They keep the light on all day in the morning. I mean, at the time when Jayapataka Swami was hospitalized, so many devotees were praying in front of Lord Nrsingadev. All 24-hour kirtan and everything. And it worked. So you see how powerful he is. So she's saying for the benefit of the cows and the Brahmins, become our Indra, let us, worship you. He's some big deal in the universe, but we see in this Leela, he's very tiny actually. His pride was very big. We heard a nice talk about pride the other day. Pride is very dangerous. It's a demoniac quality, atma sambhavita stabda dhanamana. Then there's anger and fault finding. If we become proud for any reason, then we start to criticize others. If I have some asset or I'm doing something that I think is special, then I think people who don't have that, or people from a different culture, they're all inferior. Then I start criticizing, and then we fall down. When I was a child in the Sunday school in the church, we would hear one Bible verse. They always said, pride goes before the fall. You ever heard that? I looked it up in the last few years, and it's not what it says. It says, a haughty spirit will cause fall, and pride leads to destruction. To destruction. Pride leads to destruction. So it's all there in any scripture. Lust, anger, greed, and pride is very dangerous. This false pride, ahankara, thinking that my body is very special. And you find it everywhere. People think that their particular so-called race is better than another one, or my religion is better, my skin color is better or not better. Is this skin whitener still a really big product here? Right? In Thailand also, they have one called snail white. That's a really popular one, They export it, it's supposed to be so good. Of course, they're very dangerous for, and people that can't afford that stuff, they get really desperate and put bleach or something and practically kill themselves. But in Australia, they say suntan is bliss. And if some so-called white person gets dark from the sun, that's considered very beautiful. It used to be that the aristocracy, they were called blue bloods in Europe, because they never were exposed to the sunlight. So their skin was very white, and then you could see the blue from the blood. Now the rich people get suntan because they can afford holidays and go to the tropics, and so we want to change bodies, but they don't know, But if we tell them you're not that body, no, they don't like that. Yeah. No, my body's so great. I spent so much money decorating it. The haircuts, I see a lot of these haircuts now. They shave the sides. That used to be like if you went in the military, they cut your hair like that. And it was embarrassing, to have a haircut like that. So everything's changing, but it's all just illusion. So Surabi has the right idea, and she's in ecstasy, Krishna, Krishna. And, they just saw Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill, and which is, quite an amazing thing. Well, it's said that actually Govardhan was floating. Krishna really didn't have to hold up anything, except he held his hand up, which is hard enough. But Govardhan was in ecstasy, being touched by Krishna like that, so he was floating. And we can never understand, how that works. How big Govardhan is described. He was, anyway, much bigger than Mount Everest, piercing through the clouds of the heavenly planets. And then we have that story that Govardhan was cursed by that sage who was carrying him to shrink one mustard seed. But Govardhan is none different than Krishna. He can't be affected by some curse. But he shrunk a lot in separation from Krishna. When Krishna left Vrindavan, Govardhan shrunk down. They say the gopis, they wanted to suicide, but Govardhan wasn't big enough to jump off of. And the Jamuna dried up, they couldn't drown themselves, so they just cried all the time. It's a feeling of separation. And that's, I was hearing some story that Radharani, Krishna asked for benediction. She said she wanted everybody to experience this feelings of separation. Now mostly we don't want to be separated from something we're attached to, but that makes you think of that thing much more. That's the point. So that's the highest thing in our sampradaya, you feel separation. You can't feel separation from something you don't know, you don't love, you don't have a relationship with, right? So we have to develop relationship, and that we have to do by practice. I was just reading Nectar Devotion with the Bhakti Shastra class, and it's quite amazing how Prabhupada, everything that's listed there that you're supposed to do is exactly what Prabhupada gave us. Everything. Starting with getting up early, and now more and more people are telling their clients, whether they're health gurus or business gurus, get up early. Take a cold bath. Exercise, and have kirtan, they don't know that. Then meditate, and then read, and then go to work. So that's what Prabhupada gave us. Get up, take bath, get your exercise, dance like in Mangalarti, then chant, deep breathing, then meditate, japa, then read the Bhagavatam daily. This is our special mercy Prabhupada gave us. And we should feel indebted how much endeavor he went to give us the Bhagavatam. It's actually inconceivable. He slept, he didn't really sleep exactly, but he rested his body a bit, and then he just translated. Not only translated, but somehow he collected followers who could produce the books and distribute the books and then get them in every language. It's quite an amazing thing. And there were many, many arrangements that Lord Chaitanya made ahead of time. First place Lord Chaitanya came and introduced the Sankirtan movement. Yagya is Sankirtana prior. Yajanti hi sumedasa. Anyone who has a good brain, they will join the Sankirtan. So all of you must have good, and we should understand that any devotee who joins, they have a good brain. Not only that, but they're blessed, especially chosen by Lord Chaitanya. Of all the people that are available in the Juhu even, how many come to the temple. It looks like a lot, but really it's a tiny part of the whole. But it's big numbers because of Prabhupada's genius. I was remembering another thing. I was thinking today is Sunday, and that's the day you read this book, But that's for Ekadasi, I heard. So. But there was, when they were, before they started building the temple, all the contractors said, you have to put piling. Like if you were in Mayapur, you saw how many piles they put there. I don't know, thousands of them. For 1 year, it was bang, 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 It was like beautiful kirtan, actually. Just pounding these piles down, down, down so that you could support a building. So everybody said you have to do that because this is seaside, you know. And Prabhupada said, no, you don't have to. And they argued it, you know, all the contractors. And then they brought the piling guys and they tested, and they found the stone like very near. And then they said, how did you know that? Prabhupada said, oh, there's one building over there. That he watched them building something and saw they didn't put piles. And he did, of course, Krishna guided him to know and to notice these things. He noticed everything. So we got the building without all that extra trouble, you know. There was enough trouble anyway building it, but just so many things. You have to read that book. But so we can pray like Saravi, you know. Indra abused his authority. That's another thing. It's a very big issue now in America anyway. Clergy abuse or something, you know. These people are, you know, and in India, same, they call it, so many different so-called gurus and swamis are caught with all kinds of corruption. It's Kali Yuga. But Krishna smashes them, you know, and no matter, they think they're getting away with a lot. But Krishna gives us so much, so we have to be very careful. How can I utilize this for Krishna? Everybody has so much, the poorest person, because we all have the ability to do some work, to do some charity. Everybody has some kind of Shakti. And whatever we have is perfect for serving Krishna. We don't have to think, well, if I had his money, then I could really serve. We saw that happen in America. I was there, so I saw it happen. Different leaders, they found different ways they could make a lot of money, selling this and that, you know. And the devotees, you know, they're very expert. So they would, and they were thinking, we'll get lots of money, and then we'll build big, big temples, and then we'll be really big, you know, with the money. But then it's warned, and Bhaktisiddhanta warned that you may think I'm going to do business and make a lot of money for Krishna, and then you get bewildered and you forget Krishna. So that happened even to devotees. They got the money, and they borrowed more money, bought land, and then the money quit coming in, and because they weren't making devotees anymore. And the devotees, you know, they had a lot of enthusiasm to go out and distribute books. That's ecstatic, even though it's difficult. But it's not really difficult, but physically it's not so easy. But it's purifying. Someone asked me the other day how, because we had that, if somebody criticizes us or insults us and we don't like it. So he was saying he has a problem. So you want to get over that and go out and distribute books, you know, because many people will reject you. But they're not rejecting us, you know, they're rejecting Krishna. But if we take it personally, but we'll never just start screaming and arguing with, you know, we'll just say, okay, you know. But if a devotee disagrees with me, then wait a minute, you can't, I'm older than you, I know more than you know, because of familiarity, family, you know. So you have to be careful. So that's, you know, the whole process in all traditions, in the Christian tradition, at least the Christian, the Buddhist, and in Vedic, monks go out begging, not for money. They get minimal, they don't get much. They just get enough food for the ashram. But it's for character development. It's to develop humility, you know, because you're going to be rejected. You're going to maybe get beat up, you know, these things happen. At least it used to happen in America. Now people are more either they completely ignore us or they like us. We don't have a lot of enemies anymore, but the traditional Buddhist in Japan, the monk goes out and he just stands in one spot. It's a special type of begging. And he has a bowl, and he holds that bowl out high enough that he can't see the top of the bowl. And he has a hat that blocks his vision. And he just rings his bell and he chants these mantras. And then people put donation, and he can't see who gave it, and he can't see how much they gave. And he stand there all day, like holding his bowl out. Hardly anybody does it anymore, but now they go once a week in the village, and they know who gives the most food and who gives wine and who gives this and that, and they all get sick the next day. They have austere life for a few days in the ashram. But that's the idea. That's why we have these, that's tapasya, for character development. Prabhupada said this, bhakti yoga is for character development, not for armchair philosophers. That's because in New York City, maybe it was the Ramakrishna Mission, they had a very opulent place in uptown New Manhattan. And they had big chairs, soft, probably leather chairs. And they would have rich old ladies and they would discuss something. But it's not for armchair philosophers. This is for character development. So he sent us out, get out and chant the holy name. Go out. Devotees were shy to go out the first time. Brahmananda said that one of the first times they went out, because if you ever, the 22nd Avenue is a very small place. It's hardly like this wide, a little wider, and not very long. And so they were crowded in there. It was summer, it was really hot. So they just went outside like automatically without thinking and started chanting. They weren't going outside all that much. But then Prabhupada said, let's go, and they went to the park. First they went to another park, which is now a really good place for Harinam, but at that time everybody was really puffed up and they didn't get... Then they went to this Tompkins Square Park, which is in the slums near the temple, and the people gathered around like anything, including the police. They told Prabhupada, you can't sit on the grass. So he moved to the concrete. The tree is still there. There's a famous picture. And we met one tour guide. I met him twice actually, and he said, I always take the tour past that tree and tell them this is where Hare Krishna started. All the people that are touring New York. I said, you should go to 22nd Avenue. He didn't know about 26th. Because from there they went to the park. It's a couple blocks. And they chanted 3 hours. And the devotees were dancing, Brahmananda and a few others. And they said they thought they were getting really tired, but they thought it would be offensive to stop dancing because Prabhupada was chanting. So they danced for 3 hours. And they had the pamphlet, Stay High Forever, because everybody was getting high was the goal of life. And they said, no more coming down, no more this, that, very nice. Chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare. So you see, like, and the devotees start dancing in the kirtan, even guessed from the Hare Krishna mantra. It's not like the dancing in a Ganesh festival or something, right? Where everybody's it's the jumping up and down, that's like, that would be considered tapasya, like in the army or something. You jump up and down, but it's automatic. It's a symptom of ecstasy. So Prabhupada gave us that, and Krishna is the master of all mystics, and Sarabhya is saying, all these other mystic powers. So she's saying nice prayers. We should perform our duties without false pride. Thus we won't become obsolete and embarrassed. If we have false pride, you become obsolete. That's an interesting word. That means you just finished. You almost don't exist. And it's embarrassing. Like Indra at the moment. She's criticizing her master. So Indra's prayers come later, right? So he's really a devotee, but he just forgot. So we have to be careful. He's not a pure devotee. In other words, he's motivated. He gets his position, he gets his power, he has all the dancing girls, But he gets crazy many times, and especially if he sees a sannyasi or a king doing lots of yajna and going to do more than him, then he's thinking, I'll lose my job. Like everybody is worried about their position. Like a political leader, so-called leader, they have to work so hard to get elected. They have to get, in America, like so much money and collect, and then they have to make so many deals with the people who give them the money. So they somehow get elected by the mass of people. Like that, when I was a child, Kennedy was my mother. Oh, he's so handsome. He won because the women voted for him. They were attracted. He was a debauchee, and they were very, very rich, very handsome, very young. So different reasons people vote, And then they just have to worry about keeping their job and keeping their position and getting reelected. They can't really do anything. So Indra is also appointed, and it's a rotating job. We have a list in the 8th canto of who will be Indra in this millennium, and this Manu, and this one, and that. All these different. Even Bali Maharaj becomes Indra later on. So it's just a position. So, but because he gets all these material benefits, he gets carried away. So he got worried about Narayana Rishi, right? And so he sent the beautiful girls to make him fall down. He sent Cupid himself and the best of his society girls to dance for Narayana Rishi. And he just laughed. And then Cupid realized that, we made a mistake here. And from the body of Narayana Rishi came much more beautiful girls. And Narayana just laughed. He said, you can take one of these girls, whichever one you want, back for Indra. Tell him I'm sending him this. So he picked out that Urvasi. She became the topmost. And she's very famous because she cursed Arjuna. And she was married to that king Pururava. But she's like not ordinary Apsara, but she came out of the body of Narayana Rishi. He did the same thing to Vishwamrita Muni. He gets really worried. He tried to steal the horse from Prithu Maharaj's sacrifice. Again and again, he introduced bogus sannyas. Dressed himself as a sannyasi. Then Prithu's son was chasing him, but he didn't kill him because he's a sannyasi. So he's desperate. And he's been in so much trouble, for seducing women. It's the lustiest of all the demigods. But so we shouldn't want to be Indra. We want Krishna. And we want to surrender to Krishna like Surabi's doing. And Krishna, made it easy. Prabhupada explains that Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he didn't say directly, surrender to me until the end, because he thought people would run away, So we had to get all the other yogis and all the philosophy and everything, which we need also to become attached to Krishna. We have to know Krishna. We're not so pure like the gopis. But Lord Chaitanya right away, chant Hare Krishna, that means surrender. Chant the holy name. Chant and dance. And wherever you go and whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. That's surrender. You have to surrender. You may be embarrassed, but you tell them about Krishna. The book distributors who are meeting with Prabhupada in America, and the devotee said, Prabhupada, if we were pure, everybody would take a book. Prabhupada said, no. There's many people who won't. Many people, they don't care if you're pure or not. They're demons. But then the devotee said, if we keep distributing books, we'll become self-realized. Prabhupada said, you're already self-realized. Otherwise, why would you go and tell people about Krishna? If you didn't realize Krishna's in their heart. And Prabhupada told us, if you've ever preached at all or tell anybody about Krishna, or approach someone, how you feel really good. That's because he said Krishna's in their heart, and he's telling people, my dear soul, please stop this sinful path, please. And they don't listen to the super soul, It's telling everybody, they call it guilty consciousness or something. But when a devotee approaches them and he shows them the book or tells them to chant the holy name, Prabhupada sat up, he said, the super soul, okay, oh, he's hearing about me. And Krishna become very happy. So that's why we become very happy when we do that. When we see that we're chanting and everybody starts dancing, and we want to chant more. It's Krishna's mercy. And if we really get a taste, we can chant without. Madhava Prabhu, the Kirtan, he said when he was first in Vrindavan, on the party there, he didn't like crowds. So he volunteered for the 10 o'clock night till 4 o'clock morning shift. So he's all by himself. In those days in the temple room, there wasn't other people to come and join him. Maybe the cartel player falling asleep, and just the deities behind, but he didn't chant. So he got very strong. No dancing girls, no ecstatic, mridanga players or anything, just Krishna. That's the japa. It's a little more tapasya. But more and more kirtan. The Prabhupada always stressed kirtan. You have conflict. I was involved in one conflict one time, and Prabhupada just wrote, he said, if you can't settle it, just sit down and chant Hare Krishna till you forget about it. Don't discuss it anymore. It's just stupid, because we're not Krishna conscious. So just, in all the different trouble we have, the world is seemingly so much trouble, and supposedly much worse than ever. But if you study any history, Buddhism took over India because the kings were so tired of all this fighting. And the Greeks were making inroads into, and the British did it, the Muslims did it. They'd go to one king and say, we'll help you fight your enemy king and get his land. So they would help him, and then they'd take everything. So they were able to control. The British got the Hindu kings drunk or something, got them crazy, So there was, they're all plotting. Maya's always plotting, trying to stop the spread of the Sankirtan movement. so many different ways. But it doesn't work. You know, the lockdown didn't work. Devotees got online much more and did more books. Found out how to reach out to more people. So this, I was in America. We used to distribute in airports, and there was an article in a newspaper in one city, and how the devotees, they got permission, you know, legal permission to distribute books in the airport. And in the city, they tried so many ways. The article was just like reading about Kamsa sending all these demons. They tried so many different ways to stop the Hare Krishnas. And this one failed, and we tried this and tried that, and everything failed, one after another. The Hare Krishnas were still there. One airport had a sign, "The Hare Krishnas are protected by the federal law. We do not approve of it." But the people, if they read, nobody reads it, but if they read it, okay, it's protected by law, you know, okay, must be all right. They would announce one airport, I was just giving someone a book, you know, I was just taking the money, and it said, "Ladies and gentlemen," really loud, "the Hare Krishnas are distributing books and magazines of questionable religious value. Hold on to your money." And I had the money already. I said, "Well, that's not us, that's somebody else," you know. And they'd say, "Okay." It didn't work. But, you know, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord. So Indra, he tried, and he's the most powerful. Brahma is aloof from all that demigod stuff. When he got Brahma Mohan Leela, it's just Leela, you know. More or less, he just wanted to show who Krishna was, you know. Although he temporarily forgot. But Indra really gets bewildered. He really gets covered over by the mode of passion and does all that. And so this is, you know, a good lesson. But his prayers are very, very beautiful, especially when he prays later. He says, "Don't let me get so foolish again." You know, he doesn't just say like most of us will say, "Please forgive me so I can do it again. You know, I know you'll forgive me, right? So then I can do it again and again and again." No, he's saying, "Please give me intelligence that I won't be so foolish again. I won't, you know, become bewildered." So Krishna just told him, "Now you can go home now." But he came back to offer his prayers. And he thought Krishna was mad at him, but Krishna wasn't mad at him. Krishna, you know, he gave him the job, he knew it's a dangerous job. So we're in great fortune that, you know, we have Prabhupada as our master, and we have access to, you know, all his different leelas and pastimes. And this pastime of getting this temple is one of the most amazing ones, you know, because it went on for so long. From when Prabhupada first came to India is when he tried to buy this land, and it didn't finish it up until 1977 sometime. You know, the whole time of his really worldwide preaching, he was dealing with this. And still translating perfectly until if you see that, you know, his dictation at the end, just a few words and then long, long pauses, but the sentences come out perfect. So, you know, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's another miracle, getting that published. It is another amazing story. It's too long to tell here, but inconceivable. How the devotees got it together so fast. All right, so Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sarabi ki, and of course Krishna is Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha, cow comes first, right? And Brahminical culture means cow protection. Cow protection means bull protection also. Many people think it's just the female, you get the milk. And now the modern people, they keep one bull, because one bull can take care of many girls. But the bulls are supposed to be working, but now they're out of work, so it's a very terrible thing. So they're considered useless. So they're just wandering the streets and begging. It's very not nice. It's not nice for the cows either to see the men like that. So we have to think how to do all these things. But we have to uplift the consciousness of the people. That's by the Sankirtan movement, because if the mass of people, enough people get uplifted and become Krishna conscious, then that will help the world. Like when Prabhupada was first here, they were preaching to the rich people. And people would say, what are you doing for the poor people? And they didn't have any money to do anything for the poor people. But after rich people became connected, now we have this, how many tons of khichdi they serve every day out there? Anybody know? Huh?
200 kilos of rice.
Of rice. Yeah, but and how much dal? Similar. Anyway, it's half a ton or something. And people are very happy with that, so they come just to eat some of it. But then if devotees are being merciful, they'll be out there chanting. But anyway, they come in the temple, there's kirtan. So Prabhupada just created this amazing thing that no one else could have ever thought of. And he did it all using the dancing white elephants, the mlechas and yavanas. And by the mercy of all, now India, all of us mlechas and yavanas are still alive and still able to preach, try to preach, and try to enter into the mysteries of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is unlimited, and the unlimited mine of the holy name. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I read the whole book in the lockdown, and there's one word, unfathomable. It comes up so often. Everybody knows what that means? Anybody? What is it?
You cannot understand the depth.
Yeah. Fathom is some length that they use to measure the depth of water. So they would say so many fathoms, they hit bottom. But it's unfathomable. There's no bottom. Like there's one well in Naimishranya, I think. There's no bottom. The British tried. They were going to prove that the Puranas are wrong and they're going to find the bottom of this well. They couldn't find it. So they just packed up in one little newspaper article and they left. They didn't admit, okay, we were wrong. But so we think, the mind will think, yeah, I've done that already, I read that one already. No. The more we read it, the deeper it gets. The deeper you dive, the deeper it gets. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Do you have any comments? What are your comments? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You give him a microphone.
Hare Krishna. Once His Holiness Giriraj Swami gave an explanation for the criticism. There are two types of criticism. One is destructive, other is constructive. If the knife is used by dacoit for cutting someone's stomach, it is a destructive. And if the same knife used by the doctor to do the operation of stomach to save a patient, it is a constructive. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. As Prabhupada said, I didn't hit him, my stick did it. I didn't hit you, my stick hit you. Right? That's what they say in America. They have all these somebody comes into school and kills 26 first graders with an AK-47, which you can buy easily. And then when somebody says we should ban guns, no, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Yeah, but if they don't have a gun, they can't do that, right? If they came in with a knife, maybe one, they could, before somebody get them, but it's Kali Yuga, so but we have to take credit for our activities. Don't take credit for anything you do that looks good, though, but if something wrong, then understand, Thank you. Anyone else? Sadhu? All right, so we have a big day today. I heard 1 lakh people come every Sunday. Quite amazing. Because, like I said, everybody thought nobody will ever come here, it's too far away. But they come. Of course, they come to the beach, and then they come here, because we have the best, and good food, and it's prasadam, and they get darshan. And so that's why, everything Prabhupada wanted, kirtan, beautiful deities. That was his comment, that they saw that there's no deity anywhere in Bombay like this. Even Vrindavan, every other temple's come up like anything because they have to compete with Krishna Balaram. And also ISKCON devotees donate clothes and jewelry and everything and renovations for the other temples. And now they've all become popular because so many devotees are coming to Vrindavan. It's all Prabhupada's mercy. Because they thought no one would come to Krishna Balaram temple either. It's too far away. In 1975 even, the next thing was Fogal Ashram on that side of the road. Bhubaneswar was way out in the sticks. Prabhupada said, don't worry, it'll become the center of the city. And it is now. The temple is right in the middle of everything. So we're dealing with the master of all mystics. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Radha Rasi Bihari Ji ki jai. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Shri Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hare Hare. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanandi.